Good morning from Snake Mountain Boatworks on Tuesday, December 22. This video will introduce you to Big Red, a 1947 dual cockpit, outboard, beautiful little boat, wonderfully crowned foredeck. But as you can see, she's been insulted just a very little bit. We thought we would go through and share with you some of what we found. On this port corner, the outer layer, the finished layer of mahogany plywood must have been in poor shape. This whole section here was filled with good old automotive Bondo, which we all know holds water. There was some rot behind it, and somebody executed a couple of really terrible patches on the what is effectively the top side. The transom uprights were secured with very long screws, except for one little problem. They were buried almost 5/8 of an inch into 3/4 plywood, so they were holding nothing. We will plug all those holes and start anew. But the real insult is before you. She has a pretty serious hog that I think is visible to you. There was an issue with some leaking around the keel. So just two or three years ago, a fellow was hired to deal with this. Well, his idea of dealing with it was to squirt ribbons of some kind of caulking down lengthwise. He was too lazy to reach for a putty knife and spread it out so he had a nice smooth bed. They're just ribbons. Well, the ribbons, and then he stuck this wonderful board, which is absolutely not original, on each side of the keel. As we started to release it, what we discovered is it appears to all the world like as though there are 3 courses of fasteners, except this outer course is just decoration. There was nothing here. So what happened, I mean, understand, this is just 2 years of use, and Big Red's owner informs us that the boat started leaking so badly last summer, he simply pulled it out of the water. So it hasn't even been used for 2 seasons. The keel was the new keel that the same person fabricated. The guy's just lazy, that's all I can tell you. He didn't form it to the correct profile. He obviously had a dull blade in his table saw and didn't have the personal integrity necessary to even sand the keel. You can see the burn marks. So how are we going to deal with this? Well, we are in the process. You can hear RJ under the boat having way too much fun trying to release these carriage bolts. We are releasing the entire keel, and once it's released, we will route the outer layer of mahogany plywood, or what's left of it, completely off the boat. In fact, the surface we route will be at least as wide and probably wider. We need to pick up all of the rotted, damaged wood. And we will route down to the inner layer. We won't route all the way through. And then we will take a single sheet of plywood, actually maybe 2 unless I can buy some 10-foot plywood, and fasten that securely bedded in 3M 5200. But that's only after we have sealed the bejesus out of the out of the wood with clear penetrating epoxy sealer. Once we have an entirely new surface that spans the keel probably out about 7 inches on each side, we can then reinstall the newly fabricated keel. There's a heavy inner stringer to which this keel is secured that shows this same bow, and we are at least going to experiment with rotating that inner stringer 180 degrees, which will push what is now a bow into a crown, and we're hoping that in the process we can take this valley out of the hull. I mean, there's just a terrible valley here, difficult to see. Once we've repaired her structurally, then we can start back, and we're doing a complete preservation of Big Red. So here's her introduction to you. We will chronicle the progress as we make it, and by spring she should be looking lovely, structurally sound, ready for the water, and ready for anything that Squam Lake in New Hampshire can visit onto her. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas from Snake Mountain Boatworks.